But you know what? That's what we need to do. We need to marry old school with new school and make it work. Because like old school was definitely tapes in the back of the car, you know,
Right.
CDs in the back of the car. And look how much money people made doing it that way. And now we have this additional resource, which is the internet. So why not both?
Both.
I love it. Okay, I have a question. What do you think? What are tips that you can apply, that my audience can apply when they're talking about funding and investment? Because, you know, like I said, back to being an entrepreneur, what are some tips to get what they want to do accomplished? You know, what are some ways they can get those things funded?
Yeah, so we live in a world where it's all about getting an investor, right? Like if you watch technology or startup representations on television, I love Silicon Valley. That's the one I'm talking of, right? It's all about getting an investor.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but when you get an investor, like you have a boss.
Right.
Now. You've got someone that you've got to answer to. That could increase your stress. It can make your product or service become something that you didn't quite envision because now other people have their money invested.
So now they have an opinion.
So now they have more than opinion,
Yes.
right? They've got a
stake in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, you know, with my business, I'm not interested in investing. Like I had a friend that was like, listen, like, I think this is great. I'd be happy to put money in. I was like, no, thank you. And I think he was offended, but I was like, I'm not finished building it yet.
Right.
I want to build the thing that I want to build.
Right.
Then once it's built, then maybe we could talk about investments or exit strategy, but I have a vision yet that I want to come to fruition. So then I need to be responsible for my own funding.
That's right.
So many years ago, I started a professional development account.
Please talk about your professional development
account. And the idea is there's money in this account that if a professional opportunity comes up, I can take advantage of it. I don't have to say no because I don't have the money or I have it and I shouldn't spend the money. So if there's a conference or if you need to drive somewhere to do an appearance or if I need to fly somewhere to meet somebody who I think could change my life, I just go to that account and get the money and do it.
Right.
And so I always tell my baby girls, I'm like, listen, you might start out with just dollars at a time. But eventually, if you can put hundreds of dollars in, eventually you can put thousands of dollars in, you can start to fund that account. So that professional development account, I think I started it in college, actually, as an undergrad. Like the money from that account is money that's funding like my Love Lines business today. Right. So I don't have to run to an investor. So I can start to build the thing that I'm really interested in the way I want to build it. And every time I come into money, like I parse it into the different pockets. So usually people say you should have a savings account, you should have a retirement account. I'm like, yeah, but you should also have a professional development account if you want to be an entrepreneur. And then I also have a play account.
Please talk about your play account.
It's an envelope that says play on it. In Sharpie, and it's cash only.
Okay.
Because you know when you start getting into your plastic, you're like, oh, I could just spend a little extra. That's not how it works. The play account is for totally irresponsible purchases. Like I have to use it for things that I don't need in any kind of way whatsoever. I just want it.
Okay.
And so anytime there's a little extra cash, then it goes into the play account. And if there's a dress that I want, or if I just want to splurge on something, like then I take that money cash out of the play account.
Right.
So when I come into money, it's like, okay, this goes to my savings, this goes to my retirement, this goes to my play account, this goes to my professional development account. And again, you might start out just putting $1 into each of them, right? But eventually you're like, okay, like it's growing. Right? The best thing about savings is that it's going to grow.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I like how this is working. So maybe I can put 100 into each account this time. And you get a tax refund. Like I never spend it flat out. Like I always parse it up into these different accounts and then go from there. So anytime I come into any sort of non-university type money, then I split it up into those different accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because you're rewarding yourself and you're also putting a limit on it in one way, but you're encouraging yourself in the other way. So you're putting a limit on how much money you're spending. You know, let's say your fun account, your play account. You're putting a limit on it in that it's only the money in that account that can be spent. So you're not delving into bills and money that you have for other areas. And that's a discipline that needs to be encouraged.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it'll spill over. Like you said, someone will get a, tax return back, and they get a couple of $1,000s and they just go, wow, I'm just going to spend it. But if you have these envelopes set up, you disperse it between the envelopes, then you know, when that professional gig comes up and you need a new outfit to wear, or you want to get a new lipstick or whatever it is that you need, or a plane ticket, you know, the money is there.
Yes.
You didn't blow it in playing when some of it should have been in professional development, right?
Yeah,
So,
and it takes the guilt out of it.
And it takes the
right?
guilt
You're
out
not
of it.
playing the shell game. You're not taking the money from one place to do something else. But if I want to do something, if I want to play or do something professional, the money's not there, then I don't do it.
Right.
And the lesson is, okay, you got to start putting more money away so you don't miss the opportunities because you didn't have enough.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's not, I don't like to say it's punishment, but it's being responsible to myself and
it's
accountable to
self-discipline.
myself. Yeah.
It's self-discipline.
Yeah.
So it's a little softer than having someone standing over you telling you what you're supposed to do. You see what you need to do and you do it because of that. Because everyone wants a play account, you know, so they have more time to have fun and they can do it without guilt. Because the worst thing, I had another guest on and she said the worst place you can be is on vacation wondering if you're spending too much money.
Yeah.
So you're not there. You're not present. You're not completely enjoying the moment. And so it takes away from the experience. But if you have your money, you know, divided into the areas it's supposed to go to, you don't have to worry about that spillover being a negative.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. So take your play money and do what you do with it.
Cash only.
Cash only. Right. No credit cards.
No debit
cards. Cash
only.
only. Yes. I love it. Okay. How do you think technology impacts social relationships?
Oh my goodness. I need you to be more specific on that one.
Well, how do you think, let me reword that. How do you think technology impacts relationships, personal relationships?
Okay. Like romantic
relationships.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well, okay, again, technology is neutral. So what we do with it has the positive or the negative effects. So on the positive side,
yes,
right? Like you can be connected to your partner in multiple ways. Like you can
right,
talk on the phone, you can text, you can video chat, and you can send emails, you can post on Facebook, like you can Snapchat. Like there are all these different ways to be in communication with each other.
right.
You can also use, I mean, we talked about the business communication contract.
Definitely.
You should have a relationship communication contract, right? And you can use technology to help facilitate that contract, whether you have an app for couples or whether you use the Google Forms or whether you use your technology to talk about it. It's like,
right,
hey, even with your partner, like you kind of expect them to text you back right away.
Exactly.
Right? And if they
if
they don't,
it could be a problem.
it could be a problem.
Right.
So you've got to talk about these things, and you can use calendars to share your schedules and know who's doing what when. I just think all of that is like super awesome. And you know, a lot of people say like we need to have face-to-face conversations when it comes to relationships, but you know, everyone's got different modes. They've got different histories. They've got different
right,
attachment styles, and some people that just don't do conflict because they've never been trained to do it, like might be able to send you an email better than they would be able to
right,
tell you face-to-face. And
exactly,
as a partner, you should be open to receiving that, right?
Yes.
You know, there's some couples that I know that they send YouTube songs back to each other to resolve conflicts, right? Because they're just not good in having the words. But here's a song that tells you how I feel. And then
right,
here's a song that tells you how I feel, right?
right.
And so using technology to be able to do that is also super awesome, you know?
Yes.
But on the downside, if you're so tethered with someone who you broke up with, now they all up in your life, right? They all in your social media, and maybe they have your passwords and your accounts, and they have technology now that will like divest you from your partner. They'll just go through everything and like block this other person so you can't see them. But then you have, you know, mutual friends in common, and how does that work? And it gets kind of messy that way when you're ending a relationship. And then unfortunately, some people end their relationships publicly on social media, and I feel like that's negative. It probably shouldn't happen, you know. At least have some sort of interaction with your partner first before you go public with it.
Exactly.
Although I prefer that you didn't, right, you know. And then also when it comes to infidelity, that's one of the other things that I study, the digital indiscretions. Technology makes it so much easier to get away with cheating, but it also makes it so much easier to get caught. Right? But then it's also easy to get caught up in catching someone. So I've had several women tell me in their interviews, right, that they just got really obsessive, right, about going through all of the phone records and all of the bank accounts and all of his phones and all of that
Figuring
stuff.
out the passwords and all of that.
I mean, people have done it. MapQuest, credit. I mean, I was like, really? That works?
Right.
Yeah, you could, you know. So you don't want to lose too much of your life, like, right, spending time catching someone that you already know, right, is
You'd be
doing
right.
something you don't approve of. So don't waste your life once you know. Because I had
Right.
several women tell me that, like, I should have been being a mom to my kids, but instead I was running behind this man, like, trying to prove that he was doing something that I already intuitively knew that he was doing.
Exactly.
Right. But then there are things like revenge porn. There are partners who will put all of your business, and I say all of it, I mean all of it, in your naked self, like, online to get revenge for a breakup.
Right.
So California does have revenge porn laws, but New York is a big state that doesn't, right? And so that's also something with tech. So, I mean, that's why I said be more specific. I could do this all day. I teach a class on this too. I could do this all day with intimacy and technology, but yeah, it's almost equal parts like wonderful and awful.
Right. So I think it's the main point is be careful.
Yeah.
Be very careful how you tether yourself and how you join yourself with someone online.
And then don't be messy.
Because, yes.
When you're breaking up, don't be messy. It's not cute.
Right.
People are going to remember
that
you did messy things.
Exactly.
So don't do that.
Yeah. She said it's not cute. I like it. So before we close, we have a few more minutes. I wanted to find out, as far as your businesses are concerned, what do you find to be the best avenues of technology to use if you want your business to get out there? What do you feel are the best?
So for Rap and Religion, Amazon and CreateSpace.
Right.
I was able to buy the rights back from the book and then republish a paperback version on CreateSpace because I thought the hardback was too expensive for the audience that I wanted to target.
Okay.
So CreateSpace is a self-publishing site that makes that super easy to do. So for Rap and Religion, I would say that it's CreateSpace. Love Lines is a web-based game to help young people improve their romantic relationship communication. So my server space
Right.
for Love Lines, because if I didn't have a server to like host the game, then no one could play it.
Right.
So domains and servers definitely for Love Lines. For the Utley experience, probably YouTube, right? Because the Utley experience is me going out to do a lecture thing, and people want to know that like I'm coherent when I talk and I say smart things, and occasionally I'm funny.
Right.
And that is represented on YouTube.
Exactly.
In my mini videos. So that's really good for that. So I think for those 3 projects, those would be my 3 primaries.
Yes, I love it. So I think the main point is to say that depending on what business you've started, investigate the different medias that are available, the different avenues of technology that are available, and, start with those.
No. So I would say figure out what you want to do first.
Okay.
Like what's your end game? Because there's so much technology, you could just go down the rabbit hole and
This
never
is
find
true.
something.
That's true.
So one of the best pieces of advice I received is to figure out what you want to do and then find the technology that does that thing. Right?
Okay, got
and
it.
then if there's a learning curve, you won't mind it because you know that it's something that you want to do. And then you can target your search when you're looking for things. Like, okay, I need something that's got a timer. Like I need a productivity app. I need something that's going to show my personality. So figure out what you want to do first. Then
And
find the
then
technology to help you to do that. And if you can't find the technology, then maybe you found your next big idea.
That's very true, because you could create that technology or have someone create it with you.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Well, I know today for me has been a day that I have appreciated because I've learned so much.
Awesome.
And I think my audience has learned a lot too. One of the points I want everyone to walk away with is don't be afraid of starting your own business. There's so many helpful guides out there. There's so many people to help you, online, in person. So if you have an idea, explore it. Explore it, see what you can do with it. And just because one situation may not turn out the way you thought it would, as in Ebony's case, she decided she wanted to be a professor, she has her doctorate. And when the funds in that weren't what she thought they would be, she took her many talents and turned them into a complete umbrella of information that we all are appreciative of. We all are learning from. So sometimes what's seen as a negative really turns into a positive.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Really turns into a positive, because had things worked out in the way that you thought they would, you may not have started all the businesses that you've had. and the world would not be a better place because of it.
It's true. Someone
Right?
asked me, what would you do if Love Lines failed? And I'm like, it can't fail. I have learned so much already. It's been a win,
Right.
100%.
Exactly.
So at this point, it doesn't even matter. Okay, it matters.
It matters.
But like, I've learned so much. I've developed so many skills. I've done things that I didn't even know that I would one day want to do. I found new passions for things. I've met new people. That in and of itself has been 100% worth it for me.
Right. So that brings me to what is my last question, and that is, it's not necessarily a question, and I think you've said most of it in this last piece. For our entrepreneurs who are getting out there in the world and they want to, do something great, what would you tell them as far as, I think you've said it, but what would you tell them as far as staying away from fear? You know what I mean?
I would tell them, don't be afraid to cry.
Okay.
Like, walk into it, right? And it's okay to be frustrated and admit what you don't know, because that's when you have to go out and get help.
Okay.
Right? Because being an entrepreneur is not running yourself into the ground because you have to do everything yourself.
Right.
It's learning new skills and then realizing where your limits are.
Yes.
Because it's not something that you want to do, or it's not something that you have the skills to do.
Right.
And so I think you have to like run into that wall and be like, wow, that really hurt. And now I'm going to cry a little bit. But then tomorrow, like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to figure this thing out, because there's someone else out there that has the skills, and it's just up to me to find them. So, and also I think I would have felt better if I had more stories of entrepreneurs like seriously emoting about how difficult it can be. Because on the
Exactly.
internet, it's awesome all the time. On television, they're all like
Right.
super happy people. And then I'm like, no, that's not every day.
That's
Like,
not every
there's-
day. Some days you cry.
Some days you cry every day in the
Right.
beginning, and then you be like, hey, I didn't cry today. It was a good day. You know,
That's
and then another week will go by, and it's another way of measuring your success.
Exactly. Well, Dr. Ebony Utley, I'm so happy you came on the show, and you've already promised me you'll come back.
I will come back.
We're going to read your book first, and
Okay.
we're going to explore relationships and hip hop. And thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.